Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to give it a minute and see who pops in. Evening, Lisa. Ooh, I got so much on my mind tonight, so much. And I really wasn't going to do this tonight because, I know it was the ride and the vigil, but I didn't want to carry all this on me for the rest of the week. I didn't want to go into my week tomorrow, with this stuff on my mind. So as we, start to get into things, I just, again, want to remind everybody to please, be respectful and just respectful of each other's opinions, because as things have progressed over the weekend, just when I thought people could not get more divided, it continued to create further to create further division. And it is not for me to say what anyone else thinks. This is, I'm speaking for myself and my thoughts and opinions. A little funny tidbit. I was banned, removed, kicked out, and banned from Tony Mathis's Find Sebastian Facebook group, even though I didn't post anything in it. So I'm sure that they sought me out to see that I was in the group and booted me out. So that was fun, interesting, to say the least. So, yeah. So, I did intentionally not put Sebastian's face or on the thumbnail for this video because, in my opinion, nothing has been about him. So I didn't think it was appropriate, because what we're really talking about is not Sebastian. But first and foremost, I wanted to do this introduction that I was telling you guys about somebody. So I would like to tell you about Nina. You guys ready? I'm excited. Okay, let's see. Nina, founder and president, Search and Support, San Antonio, Texas. Quotes, helping one person might not change the world, but it could change the world for one person. Member of San Antonio VOIAD and Texas Crime Prevention Association. Licenses and certifications, IS 909 through FEMA, with a link to that credential. Per-3341 when disaster strikes, from Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service. Evacuation triage team training from Texas Health and Human Services. Wide area search credential from Texas A&M Engineering Extension. FEMA certification, UHA training, FEMA IS-800.D National Response Framework credential. forensic archaeology and anthropology, Durham University, introduction to forensic science, University of Strathclyde, forensic facial reconstruction, University of Sheffield, crime scene investigations, wilderness medicine 2-hour webinar, 211 Spotlight San Antonio Office of Emergency Management online workshop, man tracking awareness, step-by-step 8 hours class in the field, Texas State University facts human versus non-human workshop. Let's see, facts search and rescue workshop, CPR, AED, first aid training for adults, children, and infants, basic emergency medical services, helicopter search and rescue from the Mountain Rescue Association, psychological first aid, SAR fitness. I could go on. Okay, I could go on. Oh no, I was reading it. I have the links for you guys. Hello, Miss Melody. Hello. So these were the credentials of Nina. What in the world? Where did? Yes, I'm going to screen share. Okay. So those are the credentials of Nina. But guess what? It's not the credentials of Nina Glass. It's the credentials of Nina Brooks. Nina Brooks, search and support, San Antonio, Texas. Nina Glass, search and rescue, SATX. Oh, you guys do not see the screen share? You guys are not looking at the Nina thing? No? Anybody? No. What? What? This is odd. What? Am I still frozen? What is going on? I don't see anything wrong on my side. Can anybody else say something? Is anything frozen or what's going on? I need to know if it's me or just the one person. Oh, well, I mean, if I drop out, I have to do a whole entire new stream. Wait, okay. I need somebody to confirm if, yes, I'm frozen. Am I frozen? Okay. Okay. Looks like I'm not frozen. So I'm maybe it's because I'm screen sharing. I don't know. Nina Brooks, search and support, San Antonio, Texas. SATX. Search and rescue, SATX. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? These two organization names are almost exactly the same. Nina Delina Glass, she at some point was Chain Breakers Search and Rescue. Okay. Then she changed it. She is using Nina Glass, and her real name is Delina Glass. And then there is Nina Brooks. Okay. Nina Brooks is prominent in the San Antonio, Texas, well, in the state, for her search and rescue credentials. So when you look, okay, if you do, if you just hear the word Nina and you're interested in search and rescue because someone said, you got to call Nina. She is the founder of, search and rescue in San Antonio, because most people would say search and rescue, right? And Nina Brooks is actually search and support San Antonio, Texas. Okay. Now I'm not, no, Lisa, I don't want to say fraudster in the sense that, she doesn't have like a real nonprofit organization registered in her name. Nina Glass does have a nonprofit registered in her name. I have not been able to locate whether or not she has ever filed the appropriate documents regarding the financials of her nonprofit organization. And I don't believe she probably claims, the Cash Apps, the PayPals, and things like that. But Nina Brooks, Nina Glass. Okay. If you're following what I saw visually, because I was looking her up and honestly, like if you go back, a handful of years and you look at Nina Glass, and she was a little lighter in the face and a little younger, some of her pictures are uncanny. It is bizarre. Okay. So we have, but I will say, I want to make it so clear for anyone who ever has a need for legitimate, experienced search and rescue, who doesn't need $2,200 in vehicle repairs, SASSATX.org. Okay. These people, the real deal people, have huge sponsors and partners. They are tied in with NamUs. If you go into their portfolio, okay, the cases that they worked on, are real deal. Okay. And this is the right one, the good one. The real certifications, the real work, the real helping families. 2024 top rated nonprofit. Okay. This is really important. They are trained and certified by FEMA, TEACS, and NASAR, as well as CERT. They're a team of 21 active duty military veterans, veteran dependents, retired law enforcement, private investigators, survivors of domestic violence, and engaged citizens in our community. They have countless amounts of training. Our values to not charge for our searches, efforts, counseling, and training, to not accept donations from the victims or their families, to not accept any form of reward payment, to understand that the case-sensitive information remains confidential. I'm not saying, no, that is Nina's group, is search and rescue. Well, let me go back to my, no, I am looking at her. If you look, okay, if you look at her Cash App, and her link tree, search and rescue, SATX. SATX. There is no R. Okay. Like San Antonio, Texas. SATX in her links. She does, yeah, MCAS. Nina Delina Glass has a legitimate nonprofit, okay, that she created. And but I was unable to find that she ever filed the appropriate financial forms. I'm not saying she didn't. I'm saying I researched and was unable to find what I could find for other organizations under her EIN number. And Josh, oh, that is funny. Okay, so I just want to make it clear, and I did reach out to Nina Brooks, and it was so nice to email a professional because I finally got a professional who answered my professional email right away. What do you know? It was fascinating. She says, "Good morning from San Antonio. My full name is Nina Dominique Brooks. This is my only legal name. The same applies to our nonprofit's name, Search and Support San Antonio. We are aware of Nina Glass and the confusion she causes in our community. Unfortunately, she is not making an effort to avoid this confusion, which often results in us being mistaken for her organization. I want to make it very clear that we are not associated with her and never will be. Thank you for reaching out. Please do not hesitate to contact us again if you have further questions or concerns." Well, there you have that. Okay. So here's what we have. Okay. We heard a lot about the A team and the B team this weekend. Okay. So, I thought that, that would be the first appropriate connection to make. Okay. That we have, let's talk about team A, and then we'll talk about team B, which is the no longer affiliated. Team A is a crane company salesperson, someone who has no experience other than helping a coworker, does not have public relations experience, is not a spokesperson, is not a trained spokesperson, is obviously quite clearly not well versed in navigating social media waters. And they are definitely not a private investigator. They are definitely not a search and rescue team lead. Okay. So that's our head. We then have Delina Glass, who is not, as far as the terms of her probation, is not supposed to be around children or vulnerable adults, is not supposed to leave the state. I think she's been able to obtain permission to leave her county for other search and rescue situations from probation. Does not have a vehicle that is safe to get to Tennessee, and needs your money. And Tony and Nina and others are working hard on TikTok to receive financial gain. I don't know if they are turning that over to Seth. Awesome. Maybe they're not. I don't know. It's not for me to say. I am sure with the number of people following this case, they will very quickly become monetized on YouTube under Sebastian's channel. Maybe they will, they're supposed to be creating a 501c3, so maybe they will use that and make that the name of their YouTube channel so that they can maybe talk about things other than Sebastian, even though Sebastian does not really hardly at all come up in all of these TikTok lives. And so let's talk about the other people involved that were involved. Okay, we have Chloe, a licensed private investigator in the state of Tennessee. We had Heather, a licensed private investigator in the state of Tennessee. We had, Chloe did search and rescue, no charge, just a volunteer. We had Trevor Lee, a volunteer, not just on her, this case for Sebastian, but other cases, who puts in countless hours, searching, sharing flyers, spreading awareness, doing all these things. Was one of the first people to put money up in Sebastian's case. Jules has credentials for canine handling. Okay. We have complete alienation of any of podcasters that aren't of a certain magnitude to spill the tea. So, okay, I could go on, but I'm not going to go on about that. If you locate them on TikTok and you are a TikTok person, their name is Sebastian's Army 15. They have one video, only one video, and that is regarding the ride that happened today. I would say that if you went through my videos, my lives, my community page, my Facebook page, my Patreon page, and you tell me how many times I have shared Sebastian's face, you could argue it's a lot more than one. So a lot of people were really, really divided. Not everybody has heard all of the videos that, have transpired. So, a couple things that we kind of learned here is, well, I can tell you this. First and foremost, I'm going to be creating something that is going to be publicly available for families that are in need or in a situation like this where they can find. It will be all the things that they should probably need to call if they are ever in a situation where they have a missing person. The organizations, the legitimate ones. I saw, parts of it, lots of parts of it today. Um, I had some posts on my community page that were talking about, whether or not, what people thought about whether or not confidentiality was broken, regarding the conversation on Pascal's show, because the way you read the forms on how they were able to obtain those documents, the CPS documents, it certainly seemed like to many of us that confidentiality was broken.
Law, I have no idea. Tony has read that report. And here in a second, Pascal's going to answer a question and they're both going to nod their heads. And the second they do that, they confirm something is in that report. And they break it. They break confidentiality. Big as crap.
Oh, Brianna?
Yeah.
Oh, I went out for a second. I'm so sorry. Chasen, you're
yeah.
back. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Why DCS has not drafted a warrant for them for violating
That was interesting. Where did that go? Oh.
Why DCS has not drafted a warrant?
What in the world?
Oh, Brianna?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I went out for a second. I'm so sorry. Chasen, you're back. Oh, sorry. Okay. I cut out for a minute. I did not hear you, but they did, but I didn't. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Okay. I said they're lying. This part makes me shake because I'm so mad and so horrified. Tony has read the report, which is a violation of DCS confidentiality. And here in a second, Pascal is going to ask them a question about something in the report. They are both going to nod their heads. They confirm something. And the second they do that, they both publicly break confidentiality again. And why DCS has not arrested them for that, I have no idea.
And you're going to see in a moment another point to that I'll point out when it comes up. But yes, you're so right. Chasen, let's see if your mic is better.
Maybe I'm back. I don't know. Is it any better?
It is. Yes.
Yes. No crackles.
Way too many personal details pertaining to Sebastian as well as Katie was more than make the records covering her stay in apartment custody.
Minor.
This is a future law. GoDaddy Arrow creates a logo, website, even social posts.
You just want to get to the part you want to play.
Somebody call.
There we go. I don't know why this has to be so complicated.
Becomes a joke. He's digging, you're digging, and they laugh about it. There's nothing funny about this topic. Of course he's digging. That was the whole point of his show that night. Of course he's digging. What he just said right there.
About church.
Yeah. Look at this.
At the vigil.
There it is.
We'll talk to you about this at the vigil.
That's a dig to Chris.
Okay. I'm not even going to mess with that. It's so hard. Basically, they asked Seth. It was like Seth was, well, here's what I think happened. Okay. My theory. I believe that Tony reached out to Pascal and said, we're going to come on your channel. We are going to release the contents of Sebastian's CPS documents that we received. Then all over social media, it was posted to go to this live, which had unprecedented numbers. Everybody gets there. Okay. And then what happens? They ask for it, and Seth says, I am not sharing it. And the face, and I do have the thumbnail, the face that they all made, Pascal looks shocked. Tony looks frustrated, to say the least. They're going, like that kind of thing. And so then they continue to prod. And unfortunately, whether Seth intended to release it, one way or another, he was advised by his attorney not to do that for obvious reasons, because there is enough of this poor kid's personal details out there. But it is against the agreement that was signed when you request these documents. The forms you complete, it's very clear that you cannot do that. So then Pascal, because, he basically told everybody, come over here because we're going to have the goods. And so then he's trying to get something, and they're teasing him, you're digging. And so then what they do is they nod. He basically said, so you're saying there is more than what we know. And they nod, and he's saying, so you're saying there's more than just the incident. We've been discussing multiple incidents, and they both nod, yes. And it was all, Tony also said that he didn't use the word he read the reports. He said they discussed some of the contents of the reports. And so this is why, there's questions about if confidentiality, the way it was written in the document that was signed to obtain those records, was broken. And then basically it was, we'll talk to you more about it at the vigil, and whether that means they're spilling the tea. And that's because, Pascal's at the vigil, he, committed to it. Yeah. So I think it's another instance where, it was funny because I listened to the Smiley situation, and one of the things that Seth said was, I don't really care about the contents of that call, because everybody knows how, Chris is anyway, and yada, yada. And then it's like, well, okay, but I mean, is this, would releasing that help, or would that hurt? I don't know. But I think it's not, the focus is not on, I do not believe that Tony is focused on finding Sebastian. I don't believe that Tony is doing anything to add value to resources. This visit here was the first time he's been in Tennessee for Sebastian's case, coming in for this vigil. I do not believe he has brought forward any valuable resources to locating and searching for Sebastian. Trying to bring a felon from another state who doesn't have the appropriate equipment and tools, or even the transportation, is not my idea of bringing in everything you can. As far as the spokesperson angle, look, I listened to or read parallel, like mirror arguments, a mirror article from Tony talking about how he's coming in and we're all on Caleb Harris's case. We're coming in, we're only doing big news. We think these local B-list, local news stations are damaging the case. They're not giving us a presence. We're only going to do big time stuff. And, we're going to do all of this and we need this GoFundMe money. We need this GoFundMe money. And dig deep in your pockets is one of the things he says. And somebody had said something, so I've been in the process of trying to vet it, okay? I've been chasing all these GoFundMes down. And somebody had said that Tony does have a GoFundMe for Nina Glass, but it is not like written in for her. It's like in her dad's name or something to that effect. So in researching the GoFundMes, I saw a GoFundMe that he has for I believe it's the Puente family, whose home was damaged in Houston from storms. And I have, and he's asking like his crane work friends to donate. I have not been able to locate the, anyone with that last name affiliated with Crane Works. I have not been able to substantiate that the face of the people in the picture are the same people on any of the things that I found for anybody with remotely the same name. And when I do research that name, it keeps sending me to somebody in Arizona. So I don't know who that GoFundMe is for. And maybe there are people out there, but what if you just like out there, like I'll set up a GoFundMe, like it was a family, like, I looked at a grown man, a grown woman. They don't have friends. They don't have like, a community page. Like in my community, we have, I can't even tell you how many resale sites and help sites and everything that people have all over Facebook where somebody could do a GoFundMe for you. So what is somebody from Grove, Oklahoma setting up a GoFundMe for this? So before I answer Miss Melody, M. Cos had a question. What are my thoughts on Stephen Crabtree? All right, so here's the deal. I was first sucked in because he seemed like a really sweet kid. And in a couple of videos I saw before this, and he just seemed like a sweet local kid, And then I switched over. Oh man, I can't forget yours either because boy, I got comment on that. And then I saw his apology video. He did two. Stephen Crabtree did two apologies. Okay. Here's my problem with his apology video and what it was missing. Okay. Stephen, along with Tony, alluded to there being a scent, a criminal investigation. He indicated that he recorded his visit with law enforcement. So why can't we hear that? Let us hear that. I would love to hear what law enforcement is willing to share with you that they are not willing to share with anyone else in the public, because that's all he is. He's just a regular Joe like you and me. We're not part of the family. We're not investigators. We are not law enforcement. So here's my problem, okay? I respect that law enforcement should not share pertinent information regarding their investigation. I don't have a lot of respect for the lack of search efforts, but I keep talking about that. But other than that, what they're doing, I have no idea the extent of their investigative work. And that's okay with me. Okay. What's not okay with me is if you're comfortable allowing someone to come into your sheriff's department, pull out record you, and you record them, and you give them information on a case that has probably roughly 200,000 people very vested in. You'll give it to this Joe who just walked in off the street. You'll give him this information. But you can't come in a press conference and answer any questions. Okay, I sent you a professional email that didn't, you couldn't answer my email, but you could answer this guy. You could tell him. And do I think he was, do I think there was lies? Sure. But do I think part of it was true? I'm leaning on yes. Because it does make sense to me that initially you have somebody who was a runaway, and in a few days they thought, well, he's, now a missing person. And then, after that, you've searched somebody's house 10 times. Okay, so now we got an investigation going on. And that, maybe their theory took a 180. Does that seem plausible to me that was told to him? It's plausible. There's a few things he said that seem plausible that they would have come from law enforcement. So what bothers me is that there's so much focus on, and I understand you're going to focus on the video footage of Sebastian from the 26th, but I didn't buy that for a minute. Okay. So, but do I believe the conversation happened? Yes. Do I believe they shared some information? Sure. More than most of us know? Sure. So you didn't just mislead everybody about the video footage. These two, Tony and Steven, have given everybody a lot of information that law enforcement hasn't come out and said, that was a rumor. That was a lie. I even asked Nick Barris, okay, I understand that they said this, but is anybody there? Can they come out and say, no, we didn't sit down with Stephen Crabtree? That our investigators did not sit down with Stephen Crabtree and give him information? No, they have not denied sitting down and talking with a random person about the case. So I would love to hear the recording. I'm sure they'll save it for when they have their YouTube channel, and then they'll use it as a way to bait everybody to watch. They'll do a big premiere of the Stephen Crabtree recording with law enforcement. And it was also a contradiction that he did a live video on TikTok where he went into the Worsham store and he said they told him law enforcement has their surveillance, but because they didn't come in there and ask for it for 2 weeks, some of it wasn't all still there. But then there's another statement by him where he's basically saying that the owners didn't choose to come forward for 2 weeks. No. So that is, so alluding to sense, a criminal investigation. I think the recording should be at a minimum of the visit released to not just Seth, okay? Because we have to remember, innocent until proven guilty, regardless of what my theories are, okay, about what happened, okay? I'm taking that off the table here. Let's just be realistic here. Regardless of what happens, Seth is not the only parent in this case. So when we are talking about how the case is handled, he is not the only person that law enforcement should be talking to. So if there is a recording of a conversation between an investigator of Sebastian's case with Stephen Crabtree, I believe at a minimum, because I'm sure Seth has probably heard it, I believe that Chris and Katie deserve to hear that recording. Because if you take off like what my theories are, innocence, guilt, just simple protocol operations, like they broke their protocol, and they should share that with them. They should know what was told to this guy. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, fair is fair. Because in the end, okay, no matter what I think, even though I feel really solid about a lot of my thoughts, tomorrow morning we could wake up and Sebastian's found and Chris and Katie had nothing to do with it. So if you're going to share any information, if law enforcement is going to share any information with anybody about the case, the parents involved deserve to know all of that information. That's just, that's my opinion. So I think that there is, in my opinion, more apologies due, more clarification due. And, part of me thought about, the Ninas, and I thought to myself, did Randy Harris think he was bringing Nina Brooks in? This really experienced, credentialed search and rescue team, and instead he has Nina Glass? Well, I'm not saying you're wrong, One Shot. I'm just saying that if they don't know, they have a right to know what information about Sebastian's case was given to a total stranger who is not related to the case. Because we've basically, all we know is that we are not entitled to this information. Okay. So Stephen Crabtree shouldn't be entitled. I don't care if you live in Hendersonville. That doesn't make you any better than anybody else. And obviously, irresponsible people get any of the information and they share it. And anybody that believes everything they hear online is running with, oh, this and oh, that, because Tony said that it was in this recording. And, supposed to return tomorrow. I missed something. Mr. Harris is back at work. Oh, I'm pretty sure. So we'll talk about Seth's job in a minute. Let me just make a quick little comment about Randy Harris. So there is the GoFundMe for the Harris family that Tony started. I think it's like 25 grand. But Randy donated like $200 on the GoFundMe for this Puente family that Tony did. So it's weird. Like, if you're a recipient of a GoFundMe, I wouldn't be spending my money on GoFundMe's for other people. I'm sorry, you know, you have your own crisis. As far as Seth's work, so, you know, he had made a statement about leave, and my understanding was that, you know, he had that coworkers basically were allowed to donate paid time off to Seth. And so if that has for some reason run out by now, he could be on FMLA, which I think is unpaid depending, but I don't know. I think that there's, you know, different policies with different organizations as to whether or not they will pay you for that. So I'm going back. Is this one we're talking about, Miss Melody? I don't know why he is surrounding himself with these people. I think it's foolish. I think that it's tremendously foolish. I think it is extremely, yes, he is a grown man and he can do whatever he wants. Okay. And yes, it is his son. But let me tell you something. Seth Rogers is not a victim. Katie Proudfoot is not the victim. Chris Proudfoot is not the victim. Sebastian Rogers is the victim here. He is the victim. So when you tell people, you stop saying my kid's name, you don't have permission to use his pictures, you don't have permission. I don't know if they were being serious or sarcastic or what, but somebody commented today on the letter way back that I wrote to TBI that everybody saw. And they commented and said, do you have Seth's permission? No, I did not ask him. But I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow he said, in my email, there was a cease and desist from Tony or Seth tomorrow that told me, you're not allowed to say Sebastian's name. You're not allowed to say his picture. Because who in the hell tells people you can't say my kid's name, you can't share his picture, you can't use my name to search private property? Let me tell you something. You want to fire somebody because you're talking smack about people because they want to use your name, the father, to search private property in the area to find your son. You have a problem with that? What is wrong with you? Let's just wait on Nina to get her truck fixed and come help. Because I don't want these guys searching for my son. Are you kidding me? I have no idea. I mean, and listen, I heard Seth. I know I see the comments that people give, you know, Seth's overwhelmed. Please forgive him. You know, or he's just under a lot of stress and all of these things. Okay. I don't think just because your child is missing, that gives you free reign to say horrible, terrible things to good human beings. I don't think it means you have a free pass or Tony Mathis has a free pass to take people's strong credentialed reputations and drag them through the mud to have financial gain. I do not know, Melody, if she got the money. And you know, this is my thing. It's super simple. And I've heard others say this. You know, you can raise money and you can tell people where it's going. You know, you could have, see, here's the thing. If you don't treat people like crap, people can use their resources to help you. There are probably printing companies all over the country that would be happy to print off 1,000 flyers for you for free for your missing child. If you have good people. So how about Tony and his $700,000 spread on the lake in Oklahoma? How about he calls a printing company and donates 1,000 flyers? How about he fund a couple blip billboards? Because he is not out there. The only job, if you're bringing in Mr. PR, the only job that Tony has is to go on every YouTube channel, every Facebook, every this, that, and the other, every news station, and just stand there and you talk about Sebastian. You talk about Sebastian. What do you guys need? Tell us what you need. We don't need your GoFundMes. We don't need your Cash Apps. Tell us exactly what you need. You need people to come there with dogs. Do you need people who have ground penetrating radar? Do you need people with drones? Do you need people with dogs? Do you need more physical searchers on the ground? Because I can tell you what, there are enough good people in the state of Tennessee that are willing to come and put their boots on the ground if they know they're not going to be slandered all over social media. But now you're trash talking good people, and all the good people aren't going to want to have anything to do with you. So if you end up stuck in a bed with nothing but grifters and criminals, and you guys make a bunch of money, but your child never gets found, who do you have to blame? At some point, we have to stop and say, I'm not going to feel bad because you're grown. You are a grown adult. That's it. You're a grown adult. And, you know, I catch things that infuriate me, like slips of this statement. It went from, like in the Smileys thing, I'm going to play some of it. So sorry if you've already heard it. But at first, when Seth appeared, you know, he was saying that he was riding around talking about possible places to search, you know, kind of in the future type thing with Tony, you know, because we know Tony and getting all dirty out there. And then the next thing, you know, by the end of it, we were searching. Yes. And honest to gosh, okay, I have owned my own business, okay? And let's just say that I was known as the community bleeding heart, okay? You needed something printed. If I saw somebody on Facebook and a local page and they needed something printed, come on over. I'll print that for you. Oh, you're having a fundraiser, your child is sick, somebody has cancer. I'm running out and buying raffle baskets from my business. Okay. You know, oh boy, there's all these people in the community that don't have Christmas. Guess what? We're bringing Christmas to the community. All these families are going to have gifts. This is what I'm saying. Like, if you think that you can't get legitimate resources if you ask for them that are in the state of Tennessee, that's just crazy. It's just crazy. Q and AquaSearch, they have resources, but there's a lot of missing kids that they work with, you know. Let me see here. I don't know what that is, Vivian. I don't think I know what that is unless that's a video somebody told me to watch the other day. So I don't know what Operation Blackout is. But I have come on here umpteen times and said, what about WATE? WATE. We are the essentials. Look, I have shared many resources this whole time. It's like they don't want genuine resources. And I want to know, did Randy Harris, did they think they were getting Nina Brooks, the credentialed search and rescue, the real deal? Is that what they thought they were getting? And they're confused? Like they don't know? Like they didn't, well, maybe now they know, but they didn't know then. And look, I didn't want to do this, but I'm just going to, I just have to get this out here because I didn't, look, I will absolutely not call the tip lines that Tony sets up. I will not email the emails that they set up because I don't know what they're actually sharing with the family. So I'm just going to say this. I don't want to call it a tip. I have something regarding the Caleb Harris case that I believe it would be vitally important for the parents to ask law enforcement about somebody. So if by chance they see this video, you can email me, stopthemadnessinfo@gmail.com. I did comment on your Facebook. I did not get a response back. I don't care if you just message me on Facebook. I will just tell you what it is like that and, do what you want with it. But I will not, it's not a theory. It's not a theory. It's a question for the parents to ask law enforcement, not report back to me. They need to ask a question of law enforcement about a person. What happens from there is none of my business. I am not telling them somebody did nothing at all. So don't misconstrue that information. I am not telling law enforcement. I don't need the parents to email me back with an update. I don't need any of that. It's a simple, just something I don't think is a smart thing to put right on a public forum. If I don't hear anything from them, then maybe I will, just as somebody checks. I can't really explain one shot why I can't do that. Due to the sensitive nature of what needs to be asked, I don't think it's appropriate for me to ask but it would probably be very simple for the parents to ask. And like I said, I don't need an answer. It's not about what is law enforcement doing or not doing. I don't know if he has a tip line. Support was, I don't know if he has a tip line for Sebastian. In this case yet, we'll see, but he controls the emails, is my understanding. So the email I thought I had to get valuable information across, I won't use. And at this point in time, yeah. So, Vivian, I will, I'm just, I can't even with everything. So that might be true, Ginger Girl. I mean, I don't know. Um, well, and maybe things are different in Tennessee than they are in other states, but like in my state, any searching you want to do, if you are not doing it on private property, you don't need permission at all. If you are, no, it's not a theory. It's not a theory. It's a sentence. That's it. So let's just move past it. But in my state, if I want to go and search, I don't need permission for that. If I want to go on public property, I need the property owner's permission. So like Elijah Wu's case, they're not requiring anyone to submit permission. They are welcoming the searches. So this is so if it's different in Tennessee, let me know. But in here, you can search public property free and clear, and you can, you don't need permission. And if it's private property, you need the property owner's permission. So if it is different in Tennessee, please let me know. As far as the underwater drones, I have no doubt that there are many legitimate search and rescue teams that have those already on hand. And it's very possible that they can be rented somewhere in the state of Tennessee, although you'd want to be sure that the person operating it, knows what they're doing. As well as, Ginger Girl, I keep saying, despite that we want the best, you shouldn't rule out using ground penetrating radar. And I'm not aware of the existing teams using that tool, along with, not really spending much time outside of like the immediate vicinity. I did actually, Cherokee Girl, I actually did look it up by Esteban. So, no, I did actually. I looked up Esteban Puente, and there is one. However, the photo of that person does not match the photo of the person on the GoFundMe. But thank you for that. That's absolutely true. You might hear Joe, it could be, or Joseph, and it could be Jose. It could be Miguel, and everybody calls somebody Mike. So that is a valuable point to point out. Bugs. What about bugs? Wait, what are we talking about? Bugs? What is bugs? Nugs? I am missing something. Maybe we're talking about some acronym. So if everybody has already seen what transpired on Smiley's story and everybody doesn't want to see it, you know, and the majority doesn't want me to play it, maybe I won't play it, but it also helps me remember my thought processes. Well, oh, and I did want to answer one shot on the GoFundMe for Randy. The GoFundMe, I am just looking at it right now, but I was fairly confident that even though Tony set it up, it said the beneficiary was Randy Harris, but I am just double checking this. Because I do want to go through something on Smileys and something on the lab, and yeah, that was not the tab I meant to show. Sorry. Okay, so this is the family that I am unaware and have not been able to locate this man, where he is asking the Craneworks family to consider donating to this family. Not saying it's not real, that these people didn't really lose their house, but I have yet to be able to locate and see Randy donated. I have yet to be able to locate these people. That's all I'm saying. So, but we were going to the one for Caleb Harris. Oh, come on, go back. Oh, here we go. So goal of 50,000. They're at just under 25,000 for Caleb Harris. And okay, interesting. Very interesting. It says there. Okay, here we go. So he has the beneficiary as Randall Harris. So I don't know. And what was, when it got closed out, does anybody recall what Seth's was at? Which I've not really poked at the fact that there was one, and that was not started by Tony. But somebody had mentioned, you know, a thought like, well, maybe that was, you know, like there's these other routes because, you know, you can, you know, you're trying to control how much taxes you might have to pay on it, you know, so you have certain limits with various things, such as, like Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, things like that. You know, they have, you know, if you hit that, I think it's like, I don't know the thresholds, but if you hit a certain threshold, so I think it was at like around 25,000. So if Seth has paid time off right now, then he's should be, I imagine, earning what he was earning before. Like, so he shouldn't have been out money. So I don't know what it would have cost to retain Heather. Chloe was free. Trevor Lee was free. I don't know. So first I want to show what happened on Smileys. And so If you suffer from high anxiety or you have ever been a victim of domestic violence and you're sensitive to yelling, I just want to give you a trigger warning that there's yelling. So let me see. Are we going to the main part? So what was really interesting here, and it does actually get pointed out, was somebody was basically, not somebody, I mean, multiple people, and I think kind of Smiley was thinking the same thing, that that Tony was trying to click the live link, and when he did, a picture, of like the trees outside, like the sky, looking up at the sky with the phone, and in the bottom it said Chris. And so I think what they were alluding to was, I don't play games here. Are you trying to tell me that, like, is Tony out there like pretending to be Chris in chats and pretending to, like, what's going on? Because it was weird that, and I don't know what's true or not, but it was weird. It was certainly weird. So let's just kind of yeah, and I don't know if it was really Chris. It's like weird because it doesn't seem like Chris to me that he wouldn't have spoke. Like I feel like he would have been more than happy to jump in the conversation, especially because it wasn't him being in the bad light at that point in time. So it wouldn't surprise me based on what pattern we're not even at that point yet talking about, like, what's being put out there. So let's take a look here.
Eileen,
Hi, Seth.
see, right here in front of Beach High School, in front of my son's high school. Of course, it's me, Trevor Lee, you slimy little slime ball.
Ho, 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 ho. Seth, what's going on?
Chloe, I asked her to step back because she was leaking stuff. I know you don't got me in the show yet, but she was leaking information.
You are in the show.
Oh, I am in the show. My bad.
You are in the show. You are in the show. Hold on.
I figured I was still backstage talking to you, Smiley.
No, you're in the show. You're in the show. Mic drop. Mic drop.
Pretty much. Yeah, Chloe leaked. Chloe gave the audio file to Trevor Lee, knowing full well that I would take the blame because I'm the person that does that. And then I did my own investigation to find out where it was. You sit there and leaked it off the podcasters and everything else, and then wants to get all uppity because I won't let. Hi, Smiley. I won't let my PR person sit there and defend Chloe. Who the hell does Trevor think he is to sit there and tell somebody that's working for me to do something?
Smiley, I'm sorry, hon. I don't know who you are, and I don't know whose profile that is, but it's not mine. I've been with Seth all day.
I didn't say you were coming on my channel.
Somebody was out there saying that we were coming on the panel. that Tony said that we were coming on. We've been out here riding around all day,
Oh.
checking out places for searching and everything else.
Oh, okay. So I got like almost 1,700 people in here.
Mic drop. Sorry about that.
Okay, so I want you to know that I love Trevor and
Hey, I tell you what, I'm sorry. I thought he was a great person too. But after I saw, I got so many snakes that were in my group, I'm still cutting heads off. And it came as a shock to me. It came as an absolute shock that this man, I can't even call him a man, that this individual would sit there and lie to my face and then sit there and put out lies to begin with. And now he want to go out there whenever I'm in a podcast or whatnot, and nothing about Sebastian. No, nothing about my son. All about Chloe and her little clique. When I asked her to step back, she took almost all the searchers with them. And now people are like, oh, it was like a slap to my face. They don't know why I asked her to step back. But I asked her to step back because she's a private investigator trying to be a SAR person. You need to get out of the field and get back to doing private investigation, which she wasn't doing. She wanted to vet everybody. Like everybody, like I want to know, what size foot they were when they were born. And it's like, I will accept help from anybody to find my son. And people are taking my good-hearted nature and just trampling all over it. And it's going to bring out the negative part of me that don't give a flying. Smile
So
around and find out.
You're pushing away everybody that's trying to help you.
Trevor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that him himself? You know where I'm at, Trevor. Why don't you just go ahead and step out of Chloe's house and come on over, boy? And I'll show you what a man does.
Oh,
Step.
You're really helping find Sebastian doing this.
Hey, why you sitting there changing your face? Hey, what? Can't spend the time looking for summer no more, right? You want to say where I'm at? You see where I'm at. You don't know what I'm doing.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing? Why are you on this panel right now?
Why don't you go ahead and tell
Don't you ever, and I will let this be publicly known. You, Chloe, your whole team does not have my blessing to use my name or my son's name to ask people to search on their property. Like you have a contract with me. Trevor, you need to go home, boy. This is out of your league.
Is it because if I recall, I'm the one that's...
Yeah, is it because if I recall, I didn't ask you to respond. I told you to get off the panel, boy. This is my son, not yours. My son, not yours. My son. This is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. I named him. I named him Sebastian. I named him Drake. I named him Wayne. I named him Rogers. That's my last name. Take your Trevor Lee ass and fuck off, dude. You want to, literally, this is my goddamn son.
Seth.
So what I want to say is, so far, okay, what my opinions are when you're talking about this is my son, don't do this, don't do that, stop doing this. I can tell you for certain of one thing. Sebastian is his own person, and I can assure you, wherever he is, he wants to be found. So it is absolutely heartbreaking and appalling to me to see the way he treated him on this. And you can disagree all you want, and you can certainly chalk it up to emotions, and I will touch on that. But it was absolutely appalling. And to talk about, God forbid, Chloe wanted to vet the people that came in. There's nothing wrong with wanting to vet the people. And maybe the searchers went with her because the searchers don't want like Chloe to be affiliated with what is going on. If they are there and their hearts are only out there to find Sebastian, maybe they don't want to be mixed up in all the things that are going on. Maybe they don't want to end up the good things they're doing. Maybe they don't want to be out there using their good name and their good heart. And then when this all blows up, they're attached with these people who could be doing really wrong things. So I don't believe that Chloe was like, nope, everybody don't look. I believe she probably told them, look, I tried to vet the people of the new team. This is what I found. Do what you want. It's your decision. And they probably said the same thing. I trust you. I don't trust these people. And Chloe made it clear. Trevor Lee made it clear. Even if Seth doesn't want them on his team, they're still going to keep searching. But they don't want to be operating under that team. That doesn't mean they aren't going to continue searching. So let's be clear about that.
Oh my God. Trevor, are you okay? That was a good move, AB. You're right. I wonder. Hold on a minute. Hold on, Cher. Hold on. I mean, you're fine. Let's see if I can get him back up here. Can I get him back up here? T-Rev, can you call him and see if I can get him back up? Number's gone.
That's true. Chris could be there with them.
What is coming is a little bit of being cryptic, and we'll share the part that is not so cryptic directly from the lab's video. But what you're about to hear is one creator, at least, who is trying to be very clear about how they received the audio. And you will hear Seth basically shut him down, that our conversation was supposed to be private between you and I. And right now, Tony, Seth have thrown Chloe and Trevor Lee under the bus for the leaking of that audio. And we're finding now, I also hope that other creators do come forward and will speak the truth and indicate where they received the recording from. I don't know if they will, because that might mean losing subscribers for doing the right thing. But your ears aren't going to lie to you.
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, here's Seth. Okay, Seth. What? Now what?
First of all, I meant no disrespect for you, Miss Smiley. And I will tell you right now, Chris Proudfoot ain't nowhere near me.
Okay, so you're sitting there watching me. So why did you come on here like that? Why? Why? I mean, who is lying? Why? What is going on right now? What?
Yeah, somebody said that you were first. There's a lag on this thing or something?
I'm sorry, what?
I said there's a horrible lag.
I'm sorry. Now go ahead. Can you hear me?
He said there's a lag. It's
Can you hear me now?
It's a service. He froze.
Oh, you froze. You're froze.
Test.
All right. Can you hear me now? I don't know. go out and come back in. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. How am I gonna make him unfreeze, y'all?
He'll drop off. He'll come back up.
Okay.
It's okay. Hey, Josh.
Hey, how's it going?
Now there he is. Okay, are you back?
Seth,
Okay.
we see you. We see
Now
you.
we see you.
Hey, Justin.
Hey.
Hey, Josh.
Hey.
Can
Hey,
you guys
Seth.
hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
I can hear you.
Miss Smiley, first of all, I did not mean to disrespect your channel and your panel. But I have been dealing with him, as in Trevor Lee, for a minute. All right. And for the disrespect, the distrust, and the betrayal that I feel at this gentleman sitting there backing up a PI who refused to actually do PI stuff for me like I asked her to. More juicier ones.
Yeah, but Seth,
All
that was
right.
me.
No.
Okay, so here's another bothersome thing. I don't understand what he's saying when he says he has juicier ones. Why are you putting bait out there for more drama? You have juicier recordings. You're baiting, basically putting bait out there to creators. Like, put me up. I got more. I don't like it. I don't like it. That has nothing to do with Sebastian. And so far, what has been talked about is basically stop. Don't say my kid's name. Don't be using my name to search private property. I mean,
Josh, it wasn't you. It was out. Literally, somebody sent it to my mom. Somebody sent it to my mom. All right.
Yeah.
My mom heard this before you guys even did. I
Yeah,
sure in the hell didn't send no audio file to my mom. You know, she's got enough stress on her plate with her grandchild missing. I got enough stress on my plate with my son missing. And no, I'm at Beach High School, and there is no Christopher Proudfoot here. Nowhere. Like, literally nowhere. All
Yeah, I
right.
think it was someone messing. I think it was a troll.
And I apologize, Smiley, because I have nothing but love for you ever since the first time I came on your chat. But when I find a snake that's hiding in here and sitting there doing nothing but harm to me trying to find my son, it does get me riled up. It gets me riled up because my son's been gone for over 80 days and I can't find. And people just don't understand what it's like to have your kid missing. I ain't getting.
okay, so we've heard you don't understand what it's like to have a kid missing, and we've seen this go this route before. So now it's my story time. Okay, just a little something. Okay, first of all, anybody in this chat right now who's a parent, I suppose, or a grandparent, or ever babysat somebody, or took a child and maybe your child took off on you, let's say in the mall, or a big Walmart, or like a Costco, or I don't know, down there, a BJ's. I think that's like a Costco, Sam's Club type deal. Or at a playground or a fair or an amusement park. Anyone who's ever had that happen to them, you take that terror that you feel in the moment and you consider feeling that every hour. Oh my gosh, you gotta go. You are disgusting. What in the world? I'm not even going to repeat what that person said. Gross. So I have shared before, okay, that I have had a missing child. And let me just kind of walk you through 24 hours, okay? The moment you know, in my case, I realized they were missing. I ran all over the house, looked in every room, ran outside, immediately called 911. While on the phone with 911, got in my vehicle and drove 2 blocks to the nearest park. And I did a loop around the park and saw nobody, not a soul. And I turned around, and as I was pulling out of the park, I saw a police officer who had, and I'm still on with 911, and I saw a police officer who had somebody pulled over for whatever reason, and they were out of their vehicle, their patrol vehicle, talking to somebody in their vehicle. And I jumped out of my vehicle, and I'm crying and screaming at the top of my lungs. And I begged him and said, my child's missing, you need to come with me. And I hung up on 911 because I was right there in front of an officer. And they followed me back to my house. And I shared the story with them. And they were not willing to put out an Amber Alert. And 3 years old. And at that time. And I fell to my knees. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And, they're talking on the radio to somebody else who I think was pulling up from the 911 call. And they're going back and forth, and I'm not even hearing them. It's like a bomb went off in my ears. And I'm just hysterical. And they just said they were going to make a report. They'd keep in touch with me. And they left. And I didn't even know what to think. I didn't know what to do. So, I just start making lots and lots of phone calls, trying to explain things, screaming, yelling, trying to help people understand what's going on. I'm just driving to any child area that I could possibly go, public streets, things like that nearby. And eventually I had to go home. And then when I got home, I immediately was creating my own missing person flyer for all over social media. I immediately started calling and emailing every town, county, and state patrol office and branch in my state and all the surrounding states to tell them what was going on. And I was contacting shelters, hospitals. It was debilitating. And it was constant. Is my child eating, sleeping? Are they safe? Are they clean? Are they hurt? And despite I couldn't even stop, because the one moment that I had to stop, the emotion of what my child was, what I was envisioning was too much to bear. And so I just had to keep going. I had to keep going, just trying any and all forms of communication to try to reach out to anybody, anywhere that could see anything. And nobody, there were shares of the flyer, but I can tell you, as soon as the police department opened officially the next morning, I was there 30 minutes before they opened. And you can get in the building, but you don't see anybody. And I just sat on a bench and I just waited for the police to come in, to start their shifts. And I just sat there And I cried and I cried and I cried. And an officer came in, and it was not one of the ones that had been to my house before. And he took me, and I tried to explain what happened, and he took me in a room and he talked to me, and I explained everything, and he was just shocked that no one had helped. And the end result of the story was, thank God I got my child back. I stayed by my phone, and thankfully law enforcement in two completely different areas had sightings and contacted me because I had contacted them with all the pertinent information and all of my contact information. They contacted me, and I had to drive to the border of another state, and I got my child back. And two years later, the trauma is still there. I can't even tell you how much lingering trauma there still is. And that is the birth of this channel here, was out of trauma. Like, I need to find something that is good. So when I hear Seth, what makes me mad is I don't think that he understands, or certain other families understand, how many parents are out there that don't have a soul caring or talking about their missing child. I don't think they understand how many children are just being left out there, and nobody's looking except their parent or one loved one. And if I had a Trevor Lee or a Chloe, what a lifesaver that would have been. And honest to God, if I had a child go missing tomorrow, they would be the first people I called, because I just believe the genuine heart that they have. And even within less than 24 hours, someone took my missing flyer, and they were texting me that they had my child, and they were trying to get money from me. And it was a scam. It was a total scam. But that is how sick people are out there. It hadn't even been 24 hours. I want to say it was like 7 hours in that happened. The thought of laughing would be an impossibility. The thought of being angry with anybody who was doing anything to help me would be an impossibility, because I would ask him, okay, as someone who has been in those shoes, do you know what it's like to have a child missing and nobody helps? Nobody helps. Try the pain on of having someone missing and nobody's helping. Screw GoFundMe's and Cash Apps. You don't have anybody looking but you. You don't have anybody making phone calls but you. Try that. That's what I want to know, is if he could imagine, had he been the only one from the beginning, what that would feel like. That would be my challenge to Seth.
Nowhere. I'm getting nothing from Sumner County. And it makes me wonder if there's other kids in this county that are missing that Sumner County ain't even looking for. If it's not just my kid. There could be hundreds of kids missing, and they're not doing their job, and it makes me scared for every one of my son's classmates. All right? I am at my wit's end. I have gone so long at my house, walking into my house, seeing my son's room empty. He's not playing video games with people give me shit about. You know what? People are going to give me shit because I let my son experience certain things, like playing video games and not having somebody breathing down on him, tell him you can't be on, you can't play video games because maybe you'll talk to somebody. I had conversations with my son. He didn't even use the headphones. You can't talk to anybody if you don't got the headphones in. It's a PlayStation 4. It ain't no PlayStation 5 with built-in stuff. I don't own a PlayStation 5. People giving me shit because I want my son's stuff back. They took his stuff. That's all I have. It needs to be back in his room for when we find him and he comes home. Things are in the same place that they were when he left. Nobody seems to understand. I love my son. I miss my son. And I'm trying to find him. I'm out here today looking. Chloe kept me away from search areas. Plenty of search areas. Had people babysitting me because she didn't want me to find my kid. Well, we don't want you to come across his deceased corpse. Well, I'll tell you what, that's some type of closure. Me, I want to come across my son alive and well. All right? But still, to sit there and tell me that you're going to run this is my show because it's my son. And nobody's going to sit there and tell me that I can't participate trying to find my kid. All right? I communicate with somewhere. They already know 2 days in advance, so that way they know where I'm going. Because by be damned if someone's going to tell me not to go there. I contact TBI. I have everything recorded in chats, text messages, so they know my whereabouts. They know my locations. Because if I am somewhere, they want me to call them if something. Sure. And every time I go search and I don't have anything to show for it afterwards, you have no idea how it feels deep down inside that I failed to find my son, which means I failed to find him again. People want to sit there. I've got balls. I just don't need to fucking show my nuts to everybody. I just gotta find my son. It's not about this shit. I am not fucking Christopher Proudfoot. All right? I have respect for fucking people. But when people sit there and piss and shit on me and then bite me with their fucking venom-filled fangs and they're fucking poisoning the search groups against me, I brought people in that had no idea what was going on. I took regular people and brought them in for a cause, and that cause is dear to me. It's for my son. And then for someone to sit there and leak this stupid shit that really had no fucking meaning at all. It's a video file. It's an audio file. I don't care. It doesn't get me any closer to my son. Yeah, it shows people how Christopher acts. We all know how he acts. We all know how he displays himself. I don't care about him. I want to find my son. Searches are going to start back up at the end of this week coming up. If people want to come to the vigil and say a prayer for my son and join us for prayer for my son, please. All right? I am at my wit's end. I have gone so long. I don't need the drama. My son doesn't need the drama. I'm tired of it. People say I cause it because I answer questions or because I'm emotional about stuff. But if you're not emotional about your child missing, was that really your child?
I agree with that. Yeah.
I agree.
I love you, Smiley. I love you, Josh. I love you, Justin. I gotta go though. And if people can't accept my apology, that's on them. That's not on me.
But Seth, listen, I love you, Seth. But listen, please, you can't, you're vulnerable right now. Okay. That's one thing, you're vulnerable right now. And the world, we don't want to see you vulnerable because there are vultures out there, but it just seems like the good ones are getting gone, and you can't let that hate get built up
You know
in.
what? When I asked Chloe to step back, it was the same thing when I asked Heather to step back. I just asked him to step back because I saw what was going on and I had information and I wasn't going to put it out there. I just wanted her to step back because I saw what was going on. I saw it. I didn't want it to be a public display. I didn't want to see the shit come out like this. So I asked her, but certain people won't let it go. Keep poking the bear. Keep poking the bear. And you're going to see
Seth,
I'm a bear.
before you go, I want to
What's
say,
up, Josh?
You do what you do disagree about Trevor. I think he's a wonderful kid, a young man. I really do. And I think that
there's a misunderstanding somewhere.
I think that you think that
I
too.
understand, Josh. I just think he needs.
He's a special guy. You know what? He really is.
Yes.
But it's not about Trevor. It's not. It's about, I have to say that I love Trevor a lot. And I think that he's a great human. And, I think there's a lot of pressure. And I know that what you're going through is hell. You and I had that conversation. And I want you to keep looking and do what you're doing. But just know that we do care. And Trevor is a part of the team. I'm part of my team. He always has been.
So we're coming up on the part where Josh from the lab is going to talk about what really happened with the audio. And then there's some cryptic back and forth.
And he'll never not be.
I'm not. Love you, Josh.
Love you too, buddy. I'm the one, I'm the one that leaked it. I am.
No, you didn't send it to my mom, did you?
No.
See, who sent it to my mom? Because my mom had it before you did.
Just and I don't know who else had it. I know one other person, one other YouTube person had it, but you and I had a conversation.
Well, I wasn't going to bring up our conversation because I remember our conversation, Josh.
Yeah.
So I remember our conversation, Josh. Okay. So he is not happy right now that this is coming to light, which I think is unfortunate because here you have somebody saying like, look, I don't want somebody else getting blamed when I played the audio. You sent me the audio, I played the audio, we had this arrangement, and I just, I want, and he's trying to just make sure that the wrong people aren't taking the fall for this and having their reputations trashed, and it's not going well.
Yeah, but
because that's in confidence between you and me off the record. Why are you making it on the record, man?
Well, no, I asked you if I could. That's
but
it.
See, I went one step further. I went to look for beforehand. And
yeah, I understand.
Yeah, no, it was leaked before you got it.
Good. I mean,
it was.
At one point in time, literally, I have Trevor telling me that the person who I gave it to him. And I did not give it to him.
I got you.
That's a bold-faced lie. And when I catch you in, I catch inmates in lies all the time. And I give them the benefit of the doubt. And then I'll explain to them, I caught you in a lie, dude. Come on, come clean. And I gave him that opportunity. And he just decided to keep digging with the shovel, man. That's deceitful. And that's not going to help find Sebastian.
I understand. I do. I'm not.
But none of that is going to help find Sebastian. It's not. It's not. It's just not. I definitely think that it's important for the air to be clear about what Josh and Trevor, their thoughts are also. We heard Seth's opinion.
Somebody else leaked it here. Look, you said you didn't leak it to whoever they have said that you leaked it to. You said it wasn't you. And I believe you 110%. I trust you as much as anybody, Trevor. I really do. So I want to make sure that people understand that. The audio apparently, because I remember I was like, who has this? How many people have this? And we had no idea, you know. So I talked to Seth about it. We agreed on a certain day, and I went forward with it. I was surprised to hear that Tony was still blaming you for it. I was very.
So to be clear, for those who aren't aware, Seth asked for, it was given to Nina Gomez because they wanted her to have it when she went to court with Chris. And so it was asked to not be played until after it had been given in that custody case. Whether or not she brought it forward, I have no idea. None of us were in that courtroom. None of us have a transcript of what happened in the courtroom.
Very surprised about that. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, so I think part of it was by Tony in retaliation to me disagreeing about their decision to drop Chloe. So full disclosure, for those who've been watching the case, there have been 2 private investigators on the case. Heather with her firm, and then Chloe had been working just as herself. And they recently let go of Chloe. Heather is off the case now as well, was prior to, but Chloe was let go the other day. And I told Tony I disagree with the decision. Chloe's a friend of mine. I've seen her do great work on many of cases, including this one. And simply, I just said I disagreed with the decision. And Tony was upset with me saying that and told me basically he knows I leaked the call and made it very clear that I was basically going to be the fall person for the call getting out. And then I more recently got a message just earlier today that was supposed to be delivered to me that sent to somebody to tell me that basically if I said anything more about Tony publicly, that like Chloe and I would both be exposed online, which is what was quote unquote done tonight by saying we put that audio out. But
yeah.
I wouldn't. Chloe's a friend of mine, and if you guys ever received something that is however long of somebody disparaging one of your friends, the last thing you're going to do is let the world hear it.
Well, so when I listened to it, I was like, I remember saying, like, I think this needs to be heard by people, because when I heard it, I heard Chris Proudfoot threatening not only, I don't know Chloe. I've never known Chloe. I don't know anything about her. I didn't even know you guys were friends. I didn't know she existed, just like I'm sure she didn't know I exist. I had no clue. But I knew that he was threatening somebody there. And then he made a very serious threat against Seth as well. Now, Seth isn't as bothered by it as, other people, which is his prerogative. But I was like, that is crazy. And it should be heard by people. And I asked permission. And I said, if you don't want me to do this, I will not put it out. I was very adamant about it. And I was told, go ahead, just do it this day. I said, okay. And I even said to Seth, please do not feel obligated to say yes just because I broached the subject with you. If you don't want it out through me, then I won't do it. Little did I know somebody else had it on YouTube and was playing it. And it was Terry Lynn, I believe, and the audio wasn't very good. But so I actually had it all ready to go cleaned up, but it was something that I was sitting on. You know that, Trevor. I was sitting on it like for days and days. So I don't understand the hate towards you. So I messaged Tony and I said, if you're mad about the audio being leaked, be mad at me. I did it, not Trevor. And I'll say that again. I'm the one that leaked it through my channel, but I was not the first. And apparently I wasn't the only one to have it, but I was given permission to do it. And I'm the one that did it. And so when that was going on, I felt the need to come up and defend you. And I told you that I wasn't going to let you take the fall for it, which you were more than willing to do, by the way. And like I told you, Trevor, I said, it's the truth. The truth is the truth, right? And the truth is, it was my idea. I'm the one that did it. Okay. So I don't, and now, but they accused you of leaking it to other people or whatever it was. I just don't believe that. I believe you 100%. So I think he was off there on that point. And that's, okay. Let's just say, well, that was a misunderstanding. Yeah, it's not even that he told me to. He didn't tell me to. He told me that it was fine. And even afterwards, I checked with him and I said, did I do wrong? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, great. Joseph Rapp's back. Seth is absolutely correct. Sebastian is his son. And nobody's saying that he's not. I mean, you know, come on.
That's a pretty solid fact, I think.
He has the right to make any decision he thinks help find his son, not anyone else. YouTubers have tried to make this.
So Joseph, I don't know if Joseph is here, but he was a subscriber of mine. He had mentioned earlier that he had unsubscribed from many creators over this situation. And I didn't even realize it was him that commented on the labs video. And I don't know if he has now unsubscribed from me. But, you know, caught it myself this time. They just paused on somebody's comment, and that person also was a subscriber of mine. I don't know if they have unsubscribed once watching the video. Maybe they are not happy with my opinions and they have chose to unsubscribe. But I will say again, it is Seth's son. It is Katie's son. But when a human being is missing, it is not about ownership. They are not property. It is, in my opinion, the obligation of all humanity to do what they can, when they can, to help. Okay? And there's good people that were trying to help. They're off the team. I don't want to say gone because I believe they're going to still do the right thing. Trevor said, I'm still going to go to the vigil. I don't want to see or need to talk to Tony, but I'm not going there because of them. I'm going there because it's about Sebastian. So if, you know, like I said, they kicked me out of Sebastian's group they made. Look, if they want ownership of Sebastian's story, they want ownership and they want to monetize it on TikTok and YouTube. And, you know, the sad thing is, you know, I don't know if anybody saw Don B. his statement regarding the matter. He said, and it was sad, I am officially over the stupidity and drama in the Sebastian Rogers case. Moving on. And listen, you know, people can have their judgments about people that make those statements about people who don't want to be affiliated with bad people. But at some point in time, when do the people who are trying to do the good things have to say enough is enough? I can't keep wasting my time when the people they don't want help. They don't want good information. They don't want good resources. They want to do what they want to do, and they're grown and we can't do anything about it. At what point do we just say, well, okay, maybe we need to shine some lights on other people's stories? I mean, you know, the only difference this case has than some of the other missing cases I'm covering is that the family has literally aired everything about everything in their personal lives for the whole world. But if you take all that away, you know, how much coverage would it get? I mean, I do this all the time, and I go into my playlists and, you know, I look at, you know, other, you know, and I look and like right now, 48 videos in the Sebastian playlist, and that makes me sick. I'm actually mad at myself. I feel like I'm failing because I did all that. And Elijah Vu has 11. Tamontez Hurd has 7. You know, there's other cases where I've done so much research and work on them, but I haven't even done a video on them. And then if I click in those and Elijah Vu, okay, and I click in his, and you know, it's under 100 views, 1 or 2 likes, no shares, you know, they're getting funneled $25,000 to Seth's GoFundMe. I believe that was the amount. I could be wrong. Randy Harris's family got $25,000. You know, but there's all these other families where they're just relying on the goodness of people to come, and the organizations that are legitimate that might have resources already. And there aren't enough resources. There are never going to be enough resources to go around. And, you know, for some of you who are newer into the channel or to this particular stream, I said there's a reason why Sebastian's face is not the thumbnail of this, because it's not about him. None of this garbage is about him, other than the fact that everything is being taken away from him. The resources are falling apart. The advocacy is falling apart. All the good things that were there to try to support Seth are gone. And these are Seth's decisions. Okay. And we he is right that he shouldn't be using Sebastian's name in the way he's using it when he says my. He should just speak for himself. I am deciding this because I want to run the search the way I want it done. I want to run the investigation the way I want to run it. Don't put that on Sebastian, because Sebastian doesn't want those things to go away. He needs those things in place. He needs more resources. And I don't know if you guys saw my comment, that Tony had said, that he, was withholding, or, oh, wait, no, that was One Shot's comment was, I asked Tony if he was withholding evidence from law enforcement with the text, and he never answered him. And I talked about how I got banned and kicked out, but that was the thing that some people weren't paying attention to, is that Tony directly said, not like I heard this or I received information, like with the video. He said, I received information. When he was talking about this alleged text between Sebastian and his maternal grandmother, he said, we received evidence. He discussed the content of those messages. And then we have a statement from law enforcement that says that's a load of crap. So that should be an apology. I mean, it's, you're just making stuff up. Seth made comments about Nina and Chloe not wanting to, give him all the information. Unfortunately, it's all being taken out to everybody else, So if they had something good, are they just turning it over to law enforcement, or maybe they're vetting it and they don't want to give it to anybody, even you, until it's, been verified that it's fact? I don't see anything wrong with that. Another thing that was disturbing to me, and I have brought this up before, is there's only 314 tips on this case. That's insane to me. 300 tips? All this time, you've only gotten 300 tips? That tells me maybe people don't want to come forward. We had all that time of the crazy, calls and stuff, and the information that came out about Chris, and all of those interviews, and now you have all these nefarious characters trickling in, and it's like, I think people don't want to be around this. It's all, Shelley, it's all distractions. And, what good is coming for Caleb Harris? Because, look, Sebastian wasn't getting attention. Everybody's attention was on the Riley strain, and then that moved to Sebastian. Caleb's not getting the coverage and the attention, and to the degree that Sebastian is, and Tony is the same PR guy, but he's got all of those bad things to say about local news outlets and all of those things. There was even someone when they were spilling all this BS nonsense in their TikTok live. I think the person's name was Slay with Alicia. She was just flat out like, she was on the panel and she was just like, that's it. I gotta go. I gotta go. I'm done. I'm out. She left. I mean, I noticed before it was just recently mentioned that Tony was on the Harley Morris case, sending, making cryptic comments, and my understanding is, and now I'll say it, is that, I have numerous people who sent me various things that indicate that it was, despite that he is denying it now, that it was Seth, or I'm sorry, that it was Pascal who passed Tony to Seth, and that he live said, I really have somebody that you need to talk to. And Pascal met him through, that Caleb Harris case. And, that's kind of being denied, but is it so hard to, do volunteer background checks, get signed agreements with volunteers, to consider who you have that's going to, and like I said it, I think in one of my things, which I will include in my package I'm going to create to be able to just free give to any family ever in this situation. If you have a child missing and you're somebody like Seth, Chris, Katie, you've never had this kind of attention before. You've never been all over the place like this. Let me give you a piece of advice. Free advice here. You don't need a spokesperson to handle the media, because your only obligation can be done in a pre-recorded message. Okay? You can simply share if there's a development, if you're in need of something, all of the description information about your child, their photo, their flyer, pre-recorded messages, takes 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you can send them to everybody and they can put them down and drop them on their channels. You don't have to do interviews. You don't have to do Q&A. If you do want to do Q&A, guess what? You say, look, if I'm going to come on your channel, show me the questions you're going to ask me. I want to take a look at them in advance so I can be prepared. I've never done this before. It's that simple. And guess what? If somebody asks you a question you don't want to answer, you just say, I'm not comfortable speaking on that right now. It's that simple. You do not need somebody to represent for you. It's your child. We don't need an hour, 2-hour stream of an interview or a back and forth conversation. It's this simple. My name is Seth Rogers. My child is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He's 15 years old. He's missing from Hendersonville, Tennessee. We could use any and all volunteer searchers who have any free time whatsoever to dedicate in the effort to search for my son. If you are interested in helping, volunteer, meaning cost nothing, volunteering to help search for my son, you can reach out to XYZ. Boom, done. That's it. It's that simple. The problem is when you take the opportunity, and this has happened with all of the parents, when you take the opportunity to have a platform and a voice, it's like 5% Sebastian or less, and 95% about everything else. I could not imagine being given a voice when I needed it and not just screaming and crying, come help me. Just please. This is my baby. Come help me. Anybody wants to come, just come. Just come. Let's go do this. Let's go do this. You know, I don't understand why it's so complicated. Oh, no. I don't know, Ginger, if you're talking about the vigil, but he absolutely wanted the vigil filmed. Seth and Tony have made it very clear. They wanted the vigil streamed by as many creators as possible. They absolutely wanted it filmed. I don't know if that's what you were talking about, because I came in a little bit late. Yes, and Tony, this was Tony's first appearance in Hendersonville. So I apologize. I apologize for Seth, to Chloe, to Trevor Lee, to so many people, because they absolutely, it was filmed. You can go on Pascal's channel, T-Rev's channel, because they went and made appearances, and they have some video footage if you want to go take a look on their channels from the vigil. But I will not support disparaging any of the advocates or the volunteers that have worked so hard. The reality is who's stealing money, who's robbing and pillaging the families of missing children. Look, that is I'm on that, but I don't want to, I've thought long and hard. I don't want it to be overlapping with the importance of Sebastian. So, I think they're two separate situations. And the other thing that has come up is, Tony wanting the searches live streamed, since you're talking about streaming. And, there's so many things that can go wrong with live streaming searches. That in this particular case, some I think might live stream it because, there are allegations of people planting evidence. And there's so many people out there to drag people in the mud. There is the option to wear your camera, record, and not live stream it. If you want to later stream it in the event you need to edit out certain things, or maybe people that didn't want to be shown or things like that, then maybe, that would be the right thing. I'm not going to tell anybody else what to do. I'm just saying, I have said before as well, because he asked the canine handler to live stream, and she said, look, I can't handle my dog and try to video with the phone at the same time. It was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. But that being said, I wouldn't disparage anybody for searching, period. So, well, yes, you're right. yes, if you're going alone, yes, you absolutely, that makes sense, from a safety perspective. And like I said, in this case, you have had allegations. Who planted glasses? Who planted the pants? So, you have people out there accusing people that wouldn't happen in most cases, if you just found it. But, aside from the fact that you could stumble on a deceased individual on YouTube Live, which would be mortifying, my primary concern with it is, if you are searching in an area where maybe something bad happened to someone and they put a body somewhere and you're searching live and you don't find anything that day, but I'm coming back tomorrow, or whatever you say, something might disappear overnight, which is why I've, tried to be careful about sharing some of my thoughts on search locations. But at a point, nobody was caring what anybody had to say about search locations. So eventually I started talking about them, hoping that someone who actually is searching will consider it. And at this point, I mean, I don't disparage anybody who is searching. Whether they're streaming it or they're not streaming it, what I would do is irrelevant. There might be searches, that I would live stream versus others, if I'm, but again, that is a really good point that One Shot made. If you're alone, or even if it's like, like two women, or maybe someone's teenage daughter came with them or something, and you could possibly get in an unfortunate situation, help would come. First Chris is upset with Chloe and now Seth. What was she finding out that they didn't want anyone to know? Well, he was upset with Chloe because he was trying to blame her for leaking information about or insinuating that there was something related to Katie's mom and they didn't want her background coming out. But she didn't share that information, number one. And number two, it had been all out and about on the internet prior to the Web Sleuth interview. Oh, awesome, Jules. That's great. That is crazy. I have watched some of these live searches and, I'm not really on the ground to know like where things are leading to, but I have a handful of places that are just not in Hendersonville that I would like to see thoroughly searched. But I think that would require rallying support in those local communities rather than, a whole lot of people from Hendersonville having to go to those areas. But, which just goes about, how frustrating it is to hear, don't use my name to try to get permission to search private property. No, you should do if you have people that are trying to search property for you, and this farmer owns it, why would you not be okay with that? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It's just, I don't get it. And here's the thing that really dawned on me. When you besmirch the reputation of people like Chloe and, Trevor, who were doing this before Sebastian, and they'll continue doing it after. But when you drag their reputations through the mud, if people buy the garbage that's being sold, other children in the future will suffer because you keep pushing and trying to damage the reputation of good people, and you push them to a breaking point and they stop doing what they're doing, children will suffer because they need people whose heart and soul wake up thinking about helping them. Rocco, yep. I agree. And I've shown sites there. I don't know if you were part of those streams. But while Tony's doing all this brouhaha, who's talking about Caleb Harris? I have my own thoughts on the Caleb Harris case, and I it's upsetting. It's super upsetting. Where's his awareness? I mean, it's and in Caleb's case, it's really hard because Caleb, where Corpus Christi is so far. I mean, it's far from a lot of resources, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, North. I mean, he is all the way at the very bottom of the United States. I mean, all the way, so far away from help, and you think you're getting Nina and you end up with the other Nina. You're not getting Nina Brooks. You're getting Nina Glass. It's bad. And look, I got one thing to say. Juicier calls, Seth, stop releasing stuff. Stop letting your team release stuff. Just stop. Stop. Like, can we just... There's people like me who want to know and ask every single time I stream, okay? While everybody else has a whole lot of tea to talk about and spill and want you to talk, I want to know, how are the search efforts going? I asked this 2 weeks ago and 2 weeks before that. How are the search efforts going? What can we do to help? Where, is anybody looking outside of Hendersonville? Legitimate questions about the actual finding Sebastian. At this point in time, the majority of us have formed opinions about what we think happened. Beyond that, like, we're not, but nobody is, I didn't want to fuddle with the video anymore, but he said something in that video when he was outside of the beach school, about searches are going to resume in the coming weeks or something. And I was like, what? I was worried they had stopped because it felt like for weeks, maybe over a month, there was no focus on that. But you go to so many other families, that maybe the family is running a Facebook page for them, or the local news are out there, and everybody's in their, emergency vests. They've got posters, they've got flyers, and they're searching, and that's just not happening. It happened in the beginning, and then it's like darkness, because now we're all just supposed to find out not about Sebastian. Like, how are we supposed to find out what's going on with finding him? We can't go to Sebastian's Facebook group because, I don't know, if you care, you just get booted out. I didn't even say anything. They just were like, oh, there she is. Bye. Kicked me out. You know what? Go on TikTok and listen to all of them, you know, lie and scheme and raise TikTok money. No, that's not helping us figure anything out. Nobody, you know, that's why I get so frustrated. If law enforcement was still searching, or law enforcement could do something to help, like connect real organizations with the family to get them out here and get some control over this and say, screw all of you guys. We don't need to talk to any of you adults. We're just, you know, we just got to keep the search going. But with law enforcement not searching, you know, it's sad. I mean, and all the prayers are wonderful, and the kind words are wonderful, and the vigils are great, and the motorcycle ride is great, and everybody's hearts, those are in the right place. But there's something really wrong with the message that's coming from the parents, because most parents don't need anybody's help to tell the public, I need you guys here. Anybody that can come, come. No, I don't. Well, you're correct. No one will know what happened to him. We won't really have answers until he is found. No one will know anything with certainty. That's possible, Lisa, but the reality is, like I keep saying, at a point, you know, if everybody's telling you, you know, this is not good, this was good, just fix it. But you're just going to stick with what's not good. It's his choice. It is his prerogative. Do I think it's going to help him find his son? Not likely. I don't think these people are going to do anything to help him find Sebastian. And that is unfortunate. Because there should be mass drones of people. It's long overdue. Long overdue. We are at May 20th, people. May 20th. Come on. This is just, it's May 20th. They can't cover the ground that needs to be covered. But nobody's rallying. It's just, it's crazy. And how much are we? Well, there are some groups, yes, that are searching, and they're keeping them, you know, confidential, but they don't have the resources that they need. They don't have the people in there with the equipment that they need. They don't. Island, I have said that a million times. Any and all threats, any and all intimidation, any and all interference with search efforts should be reported to law enforcement. So it's at least documented. Even if they can't do anything about it, you can make a report and we can start following a pattern. They can start figuring out who are the people behind this. But that's the thing. He doesn't have to be on all the time. He doesn't have to be on anything at all. And if he does, he can be brief. All he has to do is just remind everybody that Sebastian is still gone, what Sebastian looks like, and tell everybody what he needs. It's that simple. It doesn't have to be 2-hour interviews every single day with 10 different people. And I wouldn't have the time for that. I just wouldn't. I would record one message, send it to all the creators, and ask them to play it during their show. Because I wouldn't have the time to do a back and forth for hours with somebody and shoot the bullshit and, stroll down memory lane. I just wouldn't have the time. I have so many thoughts about why there's just not any or not enough. If it is happening, it's certainly not enough work happening outside of Hendersonville. And if Seth thinks that these people he's brought in are his team, let him have his team. Let him play with them. Let him do whatever he wants with them. But it's up to us to decide what our goals are. If we're in this for entertainment, if we're in this because we want to try to help, if we're in this just because maybe we have empathy or we can relate. But it's also up to us to decide, every time you watch somebody's video, every time you like it, every time you subscribe, gets them closer to monetizing. Once they're monetized, are they going to be making $1,000 a day off people's super chat questions, for Tony to answer so he can give some made up BS story? This is the birth of a really nefarious, not true crime channel. It's going to be the birth of a really nefarious, in my opinion, long game con. And most of us cannot comprehend how you get to that place, how you could possibly pull that off. Seth is helping them and maybe doesn't even realize how much he's giving them. But I also don't think he realizes how much he is taking away from Sebastian with these decisions. Because law enforcement pulled back the search the first week of March. It's May 20th. They scaled back first week of March. As far as I'm aware of, I don't know of any searches that Chris and Katie participated in. I know that Seth participated in some, and then, has basically been there as more of a spearhead or a leader of some of the searches, or was present but not doing the physical searching. But the degree of the number of volunteers in April and May actively participating in large-scale searches is unknown. Whether or not they have been using ground-penetrating radar is unknown. If they have had access to underwater drones is unknown. And I wonder, I would love to hear directly without a Tony Mathis next to him talking in his ear. I would love to ask Randy how the search efforts are going, how the progress is coming. It's the whole thing is disheartening, and you have creators that are, in it for the good, and they can't take it anymore. They can't take it anymore. It's so hard. And then, like I said, getting booted, for me to get booted out of a Facebook page that I hadn't even commented in. I was just there to see what they were basically talking about, but I didn't comment and stuff. And, to know that they obviously weren't, I know that, very early on, I think that Seth was present in one chat from a video very long time ago. And he just acknowledged she was there. And, I just chatted back, my thoughts, or with you kind of thing. But I certainly wasn't like, oh, hey, Seth, you're there. Hop on. Let's go. No. Nope. Because it's not what I was trying to do. But the reality is, I keep saying this, we're all going to have to decide at one point that it needs to be just the brief sharing of his information, because there isn't anything else we can do. And a lot of people are being told to go, go away, or don't say, and it was so funny that he happened to say that comment about the private property, because I have been talking about how close to Memorial Weekend, or on Memorial Weekend, that I wanted to go and do some searching for the Elijah Vu 3-year-old. And there was 2 properties that are owned privately. And I was already prepared that I was looking up their phone numbers so I could call and explain when I was going to be there and the time frame, and ask if I could have permission to walk the property. And I don't understand why you would tell someone not to do that. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. What I'm hoping is, that the vigil was calm, and that there aren't any crazy stuff that comes out of it, any fodder or entertainment. I'm hoping that we don't see Pascal tomorrow or the next day with a bunch of juicy CPS information that he picked up while he was there, or we don't find out about, Chloe or Trevor Lee attending and being mistreated for attending. I just hope that it was respectful, because it wasn't about anybody but Sebastian. I don't know about every day, but, I'm sure they've asked plenty of questions. I think they've made it clear. I don't think that they don't have theories. They just don't have enough evidence, or a smoking gun, so to speak. So they can't do, what do you do? I do think that TBI is probably more effective, in my opinion. If I had to say, if there is somebody playing games, I would say it's more the sheriff than TBI. It is surprising to me that TBI didn't have the records. I don't know if that's because they would have to request them themselves and one agency can't just pass them over. That could be the case, and there's nothing, nobody was doing anything wrong. But just because you have reports that, things were happening in a home, doesn't mean anything. But I have said, Bella, that based on what I've learned to date now about Katie, is that if she is going to open up about anything additional that she might know regarding Sebastian, that it is likely going to be somebody who has more of a victim advocate type background or personality. Well, we don't really know if TBI didn't have the records. We just know that they told, or we know that we were told that they didn't have the records. We don't know that for certain. I absolutely believe that if Katie did something wrong, I do still think there is a chance that she traumatized herself by whatever happened, whether it was intentional, accidental, or, an argument, that caused this or whatever. I think that it's totally possible based on her history that she traumatized herself after it, like that she, was in a traumatic state. She could still be in a traumatic state. So I know that in many states and counties and law enforcement agencies, most have some form of a victim advocate or resource type officer for that. And I think that that would be the best person to be spending the time with her rather than a regular agent doing interrogation and questioning. I think it's the approach. And she's going to need somebody who is empathetic and somebody that's going to make her feel comfortable and safe. And I wish she could find an attorney, even that had, maybe that kind of a mentality and go to law enforcement. Because it's probably what's needed, short of if they're brought in again for questioning, because I think, we've heard about suggestions of more than one polygraph being taken, and that doesn't mean somebody lied, but it could mean, they had more questions that were not asked in the first one. So if things are, maybe they found more things and they needed to ask about things they found. Yeah, I believe they went the first time because the garbage company mentioned that the weight was heavier than usual. And I can't remember the second. I don't know if they explained why they went back a second time. But well, even if, they leave running away voluntarily on the table. I mean, at this point, you have to consider all options. Did he run away? Was he locked out? Was he harmed? Was he transferred and then harmed elsewhere? All of those things, when you are talking about we're in the end of May, have to be on the table. If you're law enforcement, they have to be. And they'd be crazy not to. You just have to. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that he is close to home. It's possible. It's not, and yes, you can get covered by things, or be, debris or, whatever. But I think that if everybody wants the answers, the only short of somebody talking or coming forward with a real legitimate concrete piece of information, it's finding Sebastian. And I don't know, there's just something in my, thank you so much, Siobhan. I hope I'm saying that right. But my instincts are just telling me that they need to be searching outside of Hendersonville. I am trying to go back here, Bella. Not only about cement, but acid. Oh, gross. That's disgusting. Ugh. I don't even want. Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually going to be getting off too. It's crazy late. This is might be a record breaker here tonight. So I again thank every single one of you guys, of course, for tuning in tonight. And I thank everybody for being, Carl excluded, for being respectful of each other and each other's opinions, whether they aligned with yours or not. I appreciate that everybody was just able to kind of have a great chat and, be respectful of one another. And that's great. That is exactly what keeps things going in the right direction, is just healthy conversations, and, trying to work things out, So thank you again, everybody. I really, again, appreciate all of you. I hope you guys have a great start to your week, and hopefully we will have, I thought you might have been from the UK because you said lad earlier instead of like boy or young man. So thank you for watching all the way from the UK. That's awesome. So yes, thank all of you. I appreciate you. You guys all go get some sleep. I don't know what time it is there, but it is 12:30 in the morning here. So I am off to bed. So thank you again and have a great